Hello, everybody. This is Jacob Rubel with DFS SlateSheet. What you see on the screen is a sample of tonight's DraftKings NBA Slate Sheet. I wanted to make a video towards the beginning of the season to explain what all is in NBA Slate Sheet. First, we have each player in the player pool for whichever site that you're playing. So I should have mentioned at the beginning, I have a DraftKings and a FanDuel version of the slate sheets. As I mentioned before, this is the DraftKings version. On the FanDuel version, you will have the FanDuel positions and salaries, um, as well as fantasy points. And this column will be by DraftKings or FanDuel points based on the slate sheet. So to start, we have every player in the player pool, the team that they play for, their opponent that night, the position they're eligible at, their salary, the Vegas spread, over under, and implied team total based on the spread and over under. For those that are unfamiliar with Vegas spreads, a plus in this column means that player's team is the underdog or not favored to win that night, and therefore has the lower implied team total. And a player's spread with a minus in front of it means that player's team is favored that night and therefore implied to score more points. So getting into the schedule section of the slate sheet, we have B2B, which stands for back-to-back. Blank column, such as this one here, means that the Bucks are neither on the first nor second end of a back-to-back tonight. A first, such as here with Joel Embiid, means that the Sixers are on the first end of a back-to-back tonight and therefore will play again tomorrow. And Steph Curry here with a second means that the Warriors are on the second night of a back-to-back as they played last night. Then we have home or road. Players tend to perform better at home, so we like to target players at home versus on the road. Back-to-back again, but this one is for the player's opponent. Then we have pace. This is possessions per game. These color-coded columns are how either the player's team or player's opponent ranks in that statistic. So we have pace here, possessions per game, ORTG, which stands for offensive rating, which is calculated by the number of actual points that team scores per 100 possessions. Then we have USG, which stands for usage. That is a estimate of the percentage of possessions that player is on the court, that player is involved in, and involved in is defined as taking a shot, getting to the free throw line, having the opportunity for an assist, or turning the ball over. So usage has no impact on the defensive end. So players who get a lot of steals and blocks or rebounds do not have that doesn't impact their usage. So that's certainly important, obviously, having rebounds and steals and blocks. But we want to target players with higher usage rates as they will be the players taking more shots, having more assist opportunities, taking more free throws, and obviously on the negative end, turning the ball over more, but with a player who handles the ball more, takes more shots, and has more assists. So we take the turnovers as they come. Then we have the opponent section. So pace again is possessions per game. Then we have DRTG, which stands for defensive rating. This Again, like offensive rating is independent of pace. This is the number of points allowed per 100 possessions by a team. Then we have DVP1 and DVP2. There are two columns in this particular slate sheet um, because DraftKings allows for players to be eligible at multiple positions. So DVP1 is the how the opponent ranks in fantasy points allowed at the player's first position, and DVP2 is how the opponent ranks in fantasy points allowed at the player's second position. So for FanDuel, if this were the FanDuel slate sheet, there would only be one DVP column as each player is only eligible at one position. Lastly, we have the previous matchup section. I made this video a little later into the season because I wanted to show you guys what it would look like with at least some numbers in there, as teams are starting to play opponents occasionally for the second time. So every team plays every other team in the NBA at least twice and up to 4 times. So that's why there are 3 different iterations of minutes, fantasy points, and usage. So this will be the first game against an opponent, second game against an opponent, and potentially third prior game against an opponent before their potential 4th matchup. So we have minutes, fantasy points. Again, depending on the slate sheet that you are looking at, this will either be based on DraftKings or FanDuel scoring. And then we have usage. So how involved was that player in that game? If you like this video, drop a like, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to get notified of when I upload future videos. I hope you are having a great start to this 2018-2019 NBA season. I wish you all the best of luck. Have a great day.